When that light's on, that's when it's on. See? So we'll turn it off. It's okay to be super nervous. I'm super nervous. Oh my goodness. I have presented so many times and all the time I get these little bubbles in my stomach. Do you have little bubbles in your stomach too? And like right here, I get a little nervous. Like, I don't know why. I just get a little nervous right here. But then I go, testing, testing. You want to try it? Come here.
Testing, testing.
Right? So it's okay. So we're gonna do, and you're gonna introduce, okay? And then you guys are gonna practice together, and it's okay to move it back and forth. And guess what? It's okay to mess up too. I mess up all the time, and I just it's okay. Because guess what? They're gonna like you so much more than they like me. Because you guys are cute. I'm not cute. Okay. So, and we're gonna stand here. Do you guys want this up there with you guys? Maybe, just in case. Sometimes it helps and you don't even look at it. That's what I do. So like, see, I have my presentation and it's even gonna be up there. But you don't even, I don't, sometimes I don't even look at it, but it's just nice to have it up there, right? Just to be like, oh, that's right. So
Attention, everyone in the room. We'll begin our meeting in less than 1 minute. If you'd like to find a seat, that would be very helpful. Thank you. Good evening, trustees, superintendent, staff, and community. Welcome to the South Bay Union School District Board of Trustees meeting. Today is Thursday, October 10, 2024. The time is 6 o'clock. I bring this meeting to order. Ms. Cooper, will you please call the roll call?
Esparza,
Here.
Liker. Here. Lopez Aguino,
Here.
Medina. Here. Quinones.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, at this time, I'd like to recognize students Andreas Martinez. I'm gonna not say it right. Samagil? Oh, almost. And Ileana Gonzalez, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Welcome, students.
Please stand.
Please take off any hats, hoodies, or beanies.
Place your right hand over your heart.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you so much for leading the Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to go ahead and hand out some certificates. If the trustees would recess in place, that would be great. Students, we have certificates. And in addition, if you'd like to go down to your bulletin boards and with your family and friends, teachers, principals, we'll take some photos. Let's hear it for our students and families. All righty, we're going on to item 3, school reports. This is the best time of the year when we have school reports. So thank you for joining us, principals. I'd like to recognize Emory Academy's principal, Principal Rebecca Nelson, who's going to give us a presentation tonight, trustees, on Emory Academy. Welcome.
Sorry, I was helping get my VIP his last little pictures. So good evening, Superintendent, board members, President Quinones, and of course, our community members. I am Rebecca Nelson, and I'm the very proud principal of Emory Academy. Today, I would like to share a couple highlights of Emory Academy and then go ahead and share where we are going this school year. So just a little bit about Emory Academy. This year, we have 399 students. Of our students at Emory Academy, 142 of our students are multilingual learners. We have 87 students that are currently receiving special education services, and we currently have 62 staff members. At Emory Academy, we are a team that is dedicating to ensuring that our students are confident in their learning, taking chances, and believing in the power of their own voice. And I hope that you see that throughout everything that we do today, including this wonderful young man right here. That they know that they can make a difference and have an impact in their school, community, and their society. And this year, we have really taken on the idea of this global leaders, and we are moving towards understanding what it means to have the UN's 17 sustainable goals and how they impact their lives and through the foreseeable future. And so we have been going into what those 17 sustainable goals are. So again, as I was sharing at the very beginning, in order for us to be able to determine what our next steps are for this school year, we have to look at where we've been. And so for our ELA scores, these are based upon the preliminary data. You can see I have provided, I think it's important to have our cohort data. And so I've shared that in the colored scheme. So you can see, for example, and I'll just go to the kind of lime green for the best. From 2021, you'll see we had our third graders were at 21%. In 22-23, they were at 22%. But in last year, we were at 47% in ELA. In third grade from 2022, so I mean that from our third grade to fifth grade, we saw some very significant gains and something to celebrate. Obviously, from third grade in 2022 to fourth grade, we saw that our students were stagnant. So that is an area that we are looking at. We saw huge gains from our fifth to sixth graders from 38% to 53%. But overall, we are very, very proud of the great work that we did in ELA to have some huge gains. Our focus for the past 2 years, and we are continuing it this year, is in writing. So you can see that. And we are proud to say that our scores are where they were pre-COVID. It is not where we need to be, because we do still have over half of our students that are not meeting where reading, but it is something that we are very proud, which is why writing is still our focus. And we are pushing so that writing is not just during ELA time, it's what is that conversation? Where can we go with writing? And so as we are diving into that writing piece, what does that look like, and how can we support it with phonics? How can we also, what does that look like with phonemic awareness? What does it look like in math? What does it look like in history? So you're going to hear those conversations later on. In math, we unfortunately did go down slightly again within our preliminary data. So that is something we're looking at, and how to support our students. How do we support our students, for example, within the problem solving area? How do we support them? As I said, within writing, what does that look like within our number sense? As we have our new math framework, I am providing our cohort data again, so that you can see that slight decrease. It is something that we're continuing to work on, and I'm with our support of our phenomenal TOSA to be able to see what we can do. Our LPAC scores, I know it is kind of small, but it is something, again, working with our multilingual learners, as I shared on that first slide, we do have 142 students at Emory. That's over a quarter of our students that are multilingual learners, ranging from newcomers to students that are reclassifying. And so we know that we need to meet those students. And so this year we have completely rearranged how we're supporting our English learners. We have our LAT supporting, we have our VAPA STEM teacher supporting within our designated ELD. And we are dedicating time for our staff to look at that data, to be able to support our students, to make sure that we're meeting our students where they are at throughout the entire year. And we are also utilizing those iReady scores. So we have opened it up so that our teachers have access to see the iReady reading scores for their designated reading or their designated ELD groups as well. This is something that is very true to my heart. It's been an area that I am very, very proud of, and it's decreasing chronic absenteeism, because I truly believe in order to be able to support our learning, we need to ensure that our kids are at school. And if kids feel safe at school, if they feel welcome at school, we know then that they will continue to grow. And so I'm proud to say that in 2021-2022 school year, we were at our chronic absenteeism was at 35, but last school year we were at 17.9. So we have cut that in half of our chronic absenteeism. And I think, yeah, that actually comes from my Emory staff. So those people back there, right there, that's because of them. It might be because, and I'm just going to say there's one particular person, she's right there. And it might be because I do think she bribed them to silly string me. And I think that she might have had like 100% almost like every single day. This child right here was one of them with a big grin on his face on the day that he did get to silly string me. But again, if they're happy, if they feel safe, if they feel welcome, they're here, they're learning, they're growing, and that's the key. And so I do say that our ELA scores grew because these people back here made them feel safe. They made them feel welcome, and they pushed them, and they're excited to be there. And so I thank them for their hard work, and we cannot wait to see them continue to grow. So we're very proud. We cannot wait to see where we're going, because again, 17.9% is still high, but we know we can do great things. So what do we do with this data? That was a lot of numbers. And so at the end of last year, we looked at some of this information and we said, how do we go from there? And so we know that with our SIPSA goals, we need to still continue to provide information and supports for our families. And so I am very fortunate, and I have a phenomenal social worker, and I have a wonderful new family liaison, and they are helping support our work around our family workshops. And I was meeting with them today, and we are providing these learning opportunities for our families in both English and Spanish, and our weekly cycles. And we are holding fishbowl conversations, and we are hearing what they want and having conversations with them. What can we do around attendance? What can we do around supports and services? How can we help you? What services do you need? And they have just been, it's been phenomenal. And each time that we have meetings, we've been getting more and more information. And it's just been a wealth of knowledge, and just having those opportunities to meet with them has been helping me grow as a leader at Emory. We've also opened up and had more student showcases, and this year we're continuing to tie them again. I shared with that global leadership piece. So last year we talked about that opportunity of sharing not just what is writing or what are we doing in maybe art, but tying in that global piece and having that awareness of what's not just within ourselves, but within our community, within our city, within our world, and the impact around it. And we're hoping to continue that as the year goes on, from our passport around the world. And then at the end of the year, we'll have another opportunity. So these are just kind of showcasing some of the work that we've already started this school year. We at Emory are also continuing with our work with equity and inclusion. And so already this school year, we've had Miss Brenda, who is the coordinator within equity and inclusion, come and work with our staff on better understanding street data and understanding that, having that focus on qualitative data and being able to move us and drive us forward on being able to have our empathy interviews with our students, and how do we drive that information to help our students in our classrooms. We're working on empowering, as I shared at the very beginning, our students, and making sure that the literature that we're sharing with them is actually now tied to the UN 17 Sustainable Goals. So even within our library, we are specifically targeting it so that it's identified to the students. And then they're actually going to be doing book studies. So I've targeted, so they have the book bag activities. So For example, in TK and kinder, it might be the power of kindness because that's more appropriate for kinder. But in second grade, you have a book, Biblioboro, where it talks about a student or a gentleman who came up with a solution for students who didn't have access to books. And then our second graders can come up with other ideas of how to give other students who maybe don't have access to books. And they could do a book study. They could come up with a poem. They could come up with a piece of art to display this work. But then our sixth graders might come up with an idea for with their book on solutions for clean water, which might be very relevant for the area that we live in. And all of it is tied to the global competence and the UN 17 sustainable goals. And so this idea behind it is we're helping our students build themselves for a better future. We're building the leaders of tomorrow from 4-year-olds to 12-year-olds, and hopefully to come back and make it a better place. For SIPSA Goal 3, we're really looking at that professional development that we are moving forward as learners across our entire school. And so this year, as I shared, we have been really redeveloping what our work behind multilingual learners are. And so we had the opportunity, or still in that continued, of redeveloping what our designated ELD looks like, really looking at what integrated ELD looks like. So we've had that opportunity to send several teachers to GLAD training, or at least part 1 of GLAD training. We're continuing because there is a big study and looking at that research behind having a multi-year school-wide focus. And so continuing with that idea behind writing and how does writing go across all of our curricular areas. We still continue to hire a part-time IA, and our kids will tell you Miss Ray is amazing. She works right alongside our learning acceleration tutor. And I've put together, right now we are in the midst of round 2 for our LAT. And so we do believe in the power of our data. And so you can see the grade levels and the amount of students that between our LAT and that our IA work with. And so there is a power in the resources and how that we are working with our students. And then at our school site, we do fund being able to pay for a Ready Core reading K-6 to be able to support all of our teachers. And that came through our needs assessment as our school sites. So the other piece in there, because I do say that we want to build leaders, right? We have a lofty name. We're Emory Academy of Global Leadership and Empowerment. And so I have a phenomenal 6th grade teacher who has a student UN, and our students run, like many of our schools have an ASB. Well, Andres was selected because he is our UN president. And every Friday, or the last day of the week, I have our UN president, our UN vice president, and our UN recorder that meet in my office, and they get all their giggles out. And then they record our morning announcements, is what we call it, depending on what day of the week we start with. And this really helps us. And I know a lot of our schools have, maybe they meet on the blacktop or we do it over the phone, but this year we've really enhanced our morning announcements because we know not all kids are auditory learners. We need that visual piece. But then we've also brought in that global leadership. So he's going to be a little embarrassed because he is in there in the center. But I think it's really important to see that voice from our students. So Miss Amy.
Good morning. This is Andres Martinez, your UN president.
This is Rhiannon Gomez, your vice president. And this is Regina Hernandez, your UN recorder.
With your morning broadcast for the week of September 16th.
As you know, September is Attendance Awareness Month. For our September Attendance Challenge, all students that attend every day between September 9th to September 20th will be invited to our popsicle party when we return from fall break.
Speaking of attendance, we would like to congratulate the following classes for having the highest attendance last week. Miss Carson's class with 92%, Miss Gunderman's class with 93%, Miss Ayub's class with 96%, Miss Castellanos' class with 96%, Mrs. Almeria's class with 96%, Mr. Almeria's class with 97%, and Miss Molina's class with 96%.
At Emory, we have been focusing on what it means to be a global leader, specifically the 10 characteristics of being a global leader. This week, we will be focusing on what it means to be a strong communicator. As a global leader, it is important that you know how to listen to others, communicate, or share your thoughts and ideas clearly. This week, we challenge you to think about what you can do to increase your communication skills. What does it mean to be a good listener, and how can it help you communicate?
This week, we'll be focusing on recess games. Did you know at Emory we do not play tag or any other game that is similar? At all recess times, it is important to be respectful by giving people space. Be responsible by only playing approved recess games. And to be safe, keeping your hands and feet to yourself.
We would like to congratulate the following students for winning this week's Blue Slip raffle. Congratulations to Isaiah and Ariella in K1, Diva and Adri in room 10, Liam from room 12, and Thomas in room 14, Riley and Caleb from room 19, and Amelia and Casey from room 20. Eagles, we have viewed very important dates to remember. September 20th, Kona Ice will be on campus. September 23rd to October 7th is fall break. October 8th, all students will return. There will be a special attendance surprise for all students that are at school that day. October 8th to 11th, we'll be having a special Disney-themed Spirit Week.
Thank you and have a great week. Please stand for the flag salute and begin when you are ready.
Okay, so that's just a little glimpse of the beginning work that we're doing on really living up to the name and the work that we need to do at Emory. But I think I've embarrassed him a lot. And again, none of this could be done without the amazing staff that I have at Emory and the phenomenal community, students, families that I have. So. Any questions?
Sure. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. We're going to go ahead and open it up to trustee Esparza. And this is his area school, so we'll begin with him.
Great. So first of all, I would like to congratulate Ileana Gonzalez and Andres Martinez for your participation. Really amazing. Give a round of applause for everybody. And the parents are here. Excellent. Also, Principal Nelson and the staff that are being here today. It really means a lot. I'm just been here for about 4 months, and it's a lot to learn, and I'm looking forward to work with you guys and do what I can. The thing is that I really like about this multilingual learners. It's something that's increased, and I really like that. It's really supported on that program. So thank you so much on that.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you so much, and thank you for adding that Monday morning update. We love hearing from the children. We love hearing from all of you, but especially the children. So thank you.
I don't have any questions, but thanks again for your presentation and keep up the great work.
Well, a big thank you from the trustees for coming tonight and bringing your staff and your students. It is a wonderful time when the principal comes with their students and staff. So know that we appreciate you and thank you for your work. It's really important because I too am an Eagle. So expanding on your global leadership here is really important for our students there at Emory. So I'm really proud of your media staff. And do you publish that somewhere on campus or do you feed it to a live feed or how does that work?
Yeah, no, so I put it in my weekly newsletter to my staff, and then I have started putting it out to on Facebook and then our Instagram pages to our families. And I think we've liked seeing it as well as from the parents' perspective.
Well, I
So.
think you're onto something here.
Yeah.
Having your own little media reporters there. I really think you're onto something there. So thank you very much. Thank you, teachers. Thank you. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good one.
Perfect. Now we're on to and recognize Oneonta School Principal Guadalupe Solis, who will give us a presentation, trustees, on Oneonta School. Welcome.
Good evening, President Quiñones, trustees, Superintendent Espinosa, and South Bay community. Thank you for having me this evening. I am so excited to share with you the amazing work our team has been focusing on to ensure our student leaders receive an equitable education. But first, I do want to recognize the representatives from our school in the audience. It is an honor to serve the Oneonta community. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. I would like to start by sharing that we continue to be a Leader in Me school, and we are very proud to be in our 9th year of implementation. Like in recent school years, we started this year as a staff reflecting on our work, redefining success, examining our data in areas of greatest need. In addition, we took the opportunity to celebrate our successes. We engaged in a rich discussion about what we want for our students and how we can build on our instructional focus. As a team, we decided that this school year, we will also be focusing on not only growing readers and leaders who feel valued and capable of success, but also on growing mathematicians. In this presentation, I am going to show you what this focus looks like, starting with our greatest challenge, then looking at leadership and school culture, and finally at our academic goals. At Oneonta, in order to ensure we implement all the components of the Leader in Me program, we work together to achieve our mission. These photos represent our school culture, our school structure, and how our team works together to accomplish the school goals and strengthen our implementation of the Leader in Me program. Our goal is to continue instilling in students leadership skills and habits in the classroom, throughout the school campus and at home. We are very fortunate to receive the support of a Lighthouse team and action teams. They lead the implementation plans and create an effective roadmap. These teams are a critical component of the program. They meet regularly to coordinate the school-wide work needed to support the school's vision and mission. Recently, we added an attendance action team. This team has been very instrumental in our most recent initiative, and they are actually here with us today. So I do want to recognize them. At Oneonta, we serve 435 student leaders. 120 of them are multilingual learners, which is about 28% of our student population. We also have 124 diverse learners, which are students receiving special education services. That is 29%, which is an increase about an 8% compared to last school year. So we are so proud to have our students with diverse abilities. At Oneonta, one of our greatest challenges is school participation. 36% of student leaders were chronically absent last school year. For this reason, we decided to continue strengthening our partnership with the Improving Chronic Absence Network, known as ICANN, and educational partners to increase student participation and engagement in school. We are committed to use a multi-tier system of support, a data-driven framework to provide all students with the strategic support they need to increase their attendance rates and reach their full potential. We have proudly established a strong attendance action team known as our ICANN team to re-engage students and increase and sustain high levels of school attendance and school participation. Our ICANN team participates in weekly professional learning communities. Every Tuesday, you can find our team planning at 10 in the morning. And none of them are absent on that Tuesday. They all attend the meetings to plan attendance and engagement strategies. Our team makes strong connections with students and their families to support them in reaching their attendance goals. We have also conducted student empathy interviews and parent fishbowls to learn more about the challenges our students and families are experiencing, so that we can offer the adequate support and resources needed to reduce chronic absenteeism. Classroom and personal attendance wildly important goals, known as our WIGs, are collaboratively developed with staff members and students to ensure our student leaders meet their attendance goals. Our partnership with the Reach Out to Families Resource Center, PTA, and local restaurants have made a huge difference in motivating students to participate in school. Our social worker and our family engagement and support liaison, they're so wonderful. They have delivered family attendance workshops to promote the importance of student attendance and to ensure that they're here every day so that they can meet not only their academic goals, but also so that they can continue furthering developing their social skills as well. Our PTA has sponsored attendance activities to encourage students at risk of becoming chronically absent to come to school every day. Our students have the opportunity to win free meals from our local restaurants when they are in attendance on random school days and on Mondays. Based on data, we found out that Mondays was a very challenging day, and our students were always absent on Mondays. So this was implemented as a strategy. So our wonderful ICANN team decided like, hey, why don't we just raffle these free meals on Mondays and motivate students to attend school on Mondays. We also just recently partnered with Panda Express as well. Our team recognizes that improving attendance rates and reducing chronic absenteeism has been one of our major challenges in the past few years. However, we are committed to continue working together to ensure we meet our school-wide wildly important goals. It is our hope to reach and maintain a 95% attendance rate throughout the school year. And we are also hoping to reduce chronic absenteeism by 6%, from 36 to 30%, if not more, by the end of the year. So we are, like I said, we are committed and we are very hopeful. In addition to promoting a high level of student engagement and participation, we have been promoting an equitable, nurturing, and welcoming environment by providing social emotional supports for all students. Like I previously mentioned, we continue to strengthen the school-wide implementation of Leader in Me to develop strong leaders. Our students develop their leadership skills by taking on leadership roles. They track their academic progress in leadership notebooks and align their goals to our school-wide wildly important goals, known as our WIGs. We also provide opportunities for students to participate in student-led conferences where they take a key role in engaging with their families in honest conversations about their strengths, growth areas, and celebrations. We encourage our student Lighthouse team to lead our Leader in Me Blacktop assemblies and to deliver messages focused on the habit of the month. During these weekly assemblies, we also recognize our leaders of the week for exhibiting the 8 habits of highly effective people. I am proud to say that our work with Leader in Me has had a tremendous positive impact on school culture. With the support of our culture team, we consistently implement positive behavior interventions and supports to eliminate challenging behaviors and promote pro-social skills. Our staff teaches the PBIS, ORCA expectations, and reinforces them throughout the school year. We provide positive interventions to all students when needed. Our behavior support team, which consists of our school psychologist, our school counselor, 2 behavior intervention assistants, they work together to deliver whole group lessons to support our students in their social emotional learning and social skills. Our team also provides behavioral strategies targeting specific behaviors to motivate our leaders to interact positively with others. As a result, our office referrals have reduced significantly since we started to implement PBIS, positive behavior interventions and supports. I am proud to say that our greatest progress over the past few years has been in the area of English language arts. As indicated by the California School Dashboard data, preliminary data, there has been significant increase in the percentage points of students meeting and exceeding expectations from 15% in 2021 to 35% in 2024. So that's in about a total increase of 20 percentage points, which we're very proud. We also made significant gains in the area of mathematics. A 14% gain was made from 6% in 2021 to 20% in 2024. We recognize that this is an area of need for our school. Therefore, we have agreed to build on our instructional focus by developing goals also in the area of math and continuing to focus on math. We continue our efforts to ensure academic excellence by delivering standards-based instruction with the support of our teacher on special assignment. She has led POCs with the focus on standards and also unpacking those standards so that our teachers can better understand how to teach those standards, and participating in grade level professional development and data analysis to develop interventions for all students, as well as guided reading instruction. In addition, to ensure that our multilingual learners continue to make progress towards English language proficiency, our staff participates on GLAD professional development training to make sure that our students are being supported also in that area and that they are receiving those instructional strategies that they need to be able to make gains also with their English language proficiency levels. For students who need targeted interventions, we developed a plan to ensure we provide evidence-based reading interventions for all students at increasing levels of intensity to accelerate their rate of learning. Our team works together to look at school-wide data in reading to determine the most appropriate interventions for our students. This includes opportunities to engage in level literacy interventions with the support of our learning acceleration tutor and a bilingual instructional assistant. They receive these interventions daily from 30 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on the grade level. So I am very proud to say that this is a huge celebration for us. We have had significant reading growth in this area. Last school year, more than 90% of our student leaders who participated in this type of intervention moved up 1 or more reading levels during the first cycle of interventions. So we were very proud of that work. At Oneonta, we believe that every student has the capacity to meet their wildly important goals. We believe that by strengthening our multi-tier systems of support that use universal screening and progress monitoring paired with data-driven decision-making, we can ensure academic improvement for all of our students. I do want to take the time to thank our incredibly talented staff in the audience and all of our educational partners for everything that they do to make a difference in the lives of our students and who make it possible for our leaders to meet their educational goals. Thank you so much. I am very proud to be the principal at Oneonta.
We
Okay.
can't see Oneonta there.
Stand up, Oneonta.
Oneonta.
Don't be shy. Right here. An amazing team and an amazing community. I'm so proud to serve them.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for coming and thank you for a great presentation. Trustees, I want to take a moment of privilege, point of privilege, in that Oneonta is not only my home school, but my area of representation. So again, welcome to our board meeting tonight. And Oneonta, my children attend as well as my grandchildren. So my heart is there. But you know, I really wanted to, you know, share with you that I read your school site plans and your resources that you outlined there, the Reach Out to Family Center, and I think you had restaurants in there too.
Yes.
You mentioned that too. Yeah.
Our restaurants.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And how you're going to work with PTA because they're really
Yes.
they're really gun home this year. They're all out there working hard as volunteers. And so I'm really glad to hear that we have instructional aides that are helping our teachers in the classroom. And I don't know how many hours that you have them for. What is it, 3 3/4 hours?
That's correct. We do have a bilingual instructional assistant
Yeah.
that works collaboratively with our learning acceleration tutor for 3.75 hours. Yes, I mean, I wish I would have her longer, but for now, I am so glad that we have that support. As you can see, we made significant gains with that support.
I see that. And thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us because it's really important for teachers to have that support. I think I was there last year and that's one of the things that they asked. We need, you know, class support. So good for you. We'll go ahead and open up to Trustee Esparza.
Principal Solis, very good presentation. Thank you so much. Just a quick question. The ICANN team, when did you establish that? When did you create that? Is that this
We
year?
started about a year ago.
Okay.
With the training. They received an extensive amount of training with the San Diego County Office of Education. And we learned a lot about attendance strategies and what we can do to improve student participation in school. And they have been a phenomenal team. They're driven, they have the motivation. Like I mentioned, we meet every Tuesday at 10 in the morning in room 33. We are discussing students, supports, resources, and then what is going to be the next strategy and next attendance event to motivate students. I'm very proud of that team. They have been amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your presentation.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. It's always nice to see familiar Oneonta faces, and all the pictures of the people I used to work with.
Yes.
And all the photos. So, thank you again for the presentation and all the wonderful things you're doing for, our community.
Great job. I'm really excited to see all the progress you are making.
Thank you.
Thank you, trustees. I just want to share one more thing. This year, I noticed that a lot of parents are walking to school. So yay, parents.
Yes.
Because the traffic gets kind of gnarly in that corner there. So I saw a lot of walkers this year. So that's a very good thing. So thank you again for your presentation and your staff for joining us and your student.
You're welcome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to item 4, a report of action taken in closed session. Board Clerk, do we have a report this evening?
No report.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to take this opportunity, trustees, to recognize Councilmember Jack Fisher, who is in at Imperial Beach. Councilmember Jack Fisher, where are you? There he is. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you. All righty, we're going to move on to number 5, changes in the agenda. At this time, the trustees or executive team members may recommend changing the order of the agenda items and a request that an item from the consent calendar be placed within the discussion and action section of the board meeting. The secretary will keep track of any recommendations. Please note, no new items may be added without advance public notice. All right, we are moving on to, is there any changes? Trustees? Nope, superintendent.
Yes, staff would like to pull consent item D for consideration at a future meeting.
Okay. Up to consent here. That would be the agreement with Work Ed. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Having that one change, now I'm looking for a motion to approve the October 10, 2024 regular board meeting as amended. May I have a motion, please?
I move to approve.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Perfect. May we call for the vote?
We're doing it electronically,
Oh,
correct?
here we go. Well, now mine went to sleep. Just so everybody knows, this is like the first time we go to online voting, so it might take us a minute. Here we go. So we have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Ooh, thank you. We're moving up, moving on up. Right. Thank you, everyone, for your patience there. Item 7, communications to the Board of Trustees. We're going to have a 5-minute limit per group. I'd like to recognize our South Bay PTA Council. First up, welcome.
Good evening, President Quinones, Superintendent Espinosa, board members, admin team, and community. Thank you for being here. Our membership drives are winding down. We currently have 774 members, and units are still turning in memberships that were collected through envelopes. So I hope that number rises, and I'd like to at least meet or exceed last year's numbers. And thank you all for your support in joining PTA. I helped at Barry's Fall Festival last night. It was very late. I was very tired. They had a great turnout and everyone seemed happy and having a good time. Let's see. Sorry. Many of our units are prepping for fall festivals, book fairs, family bingo nights, and other fun activities over the next few months. So watch your emails. If you're on their membership list, that you should get an email and an invite. I keep reminding them. Our units are also getting ready to do our taxes and renew our insurance. Yay. I also wanted to share that 9th District PTA, along with South Bay Council, are working to make sure that our government officials understand our long suffering with the sewage crisis. And I was able to sit down with Juan Vargas last spring and explained how the toxins are affecting our students' health and absenteeism. We are also working with Chula Vista to make sure that they know everybody that they should contact and complain to. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for your report. Moving on to California School Employees Association, Chapter 59, CSCA. Calling Chapter 59. Okay, moving on, we'll welcome up our Southwest Teachers Association, SWATA. There you are.
Good evening, trustees, colleagues, parents, and community members. Today I have SWATA members, Melissa Romo and Amy Perrier, speak to you about our current bargaining.
Good evening. I am here representing SWATA's bargaining team. As you may know, we're in the middle of negotiating our reopener for this school year. It has been insinuated that our team is taking our time on certain articles and in a sense that we are dragging our feet. I want to make it clear that we take negotiations seriously. We are fighting for what is best for kids, and we will not settle for anything less than a fair contract. Every article that has been opened is crucial, but I would like to highlight a few. Article 24, special education, is an important article where we are at odds. SWATA is asking for lower class sizes in mild mod, mod severe, and C's classrooms. These are classes with 3 to 4 grade level spans of all students with IEPs. These are classes where teachers need more time to assess students and hold IEP meetings with teams of specialists. These require extra days and time to meet legal deadlines. We are asking for more days so that these assessments and IEPs are held by the legal requirements. We are also asking for stipends that are comparable with our surrounding districts so that we can attract and retain special education teachers. Why would anyone want to apply here when they have more support, lower class sizes, and they get paid more in Chula Vista, San Isidro, and National City? In fact, we are losing specialists to these districts because their contract offers more. Our SBUSD students with special needs deserve qualified teachers. Article 18, wages, and Article 7, health and welfare benefits. Are you aware that the district offered us 1% and a $100 increase a year towards our health benefits? It was seriously difficult to hold a straight face when these numbers were proposed. Our thought was, is this a joke? The superintendent got a 4% raise and a 4% bonus in January. Several other administrators received between a 4% to a 7% raise earlier this year, and we were offered 1%. It was definitely a punch to the gut. Then to see that we would receive an increase of $100 a year towards benefits, which is only $10 a month. You probably aren't aware, or maybe you are, that medical insurance will increase significantly for next year. Our members will have to pay over $961 a month for their families to have medical coverage. This is an increase of over $200 a month. If we accept your offer, all our members who have families and need medical coverage will be earning less money. They basically will not get a raise. Let me break down the math for you. Members who are at the top of the pay scale will receive approximately $102 a month with the 1% raise. But if they are to pay for medical insurance, that would cost them an additional $241 with the $10 that the district is willing to increase. So $102 minus the $241 leaves our members earning approximately $140 less than this year. Again, let me make this clear. These are our highest paying members. So imagine our members who are earning half of this amount. How is that even possible? This is disrespecting our work and bringing down morale. You are always praising the work that we do, and you claim to have our students' best interest at heart. We need you to prove it. Your actions speak louder than your words.
Good evening. I'd like to share with you my insight on the cost of special education, as I know the district is very concerned about how costly they feel SWATA's negotiating terms will be to them. But I'm actually going to speak tonight, not as much about the financial cost, but the district's going to incur, but the human cost. I've been at SBUSD for 10 years, and I've watched our Mod Severe program grow extensively. I've seen the numbers of students get higher, but the number of teachers not change. Yes, we've added classrooms, but unfortunately, we've not been able to hire teachers for those classrooms. And on top of that, we have lost special education teachers to other districts because SBUSD does not seem to understand the value in what they have. Other districts are willing to make appropriate ratios in classrooms by setting appropriate caps. They offer stipends to meet the needs of extensive work being asked of their teachers, such as writing appropriate IEPs. In Chula Vista, they are currently setting caps at 12 students for Mod Severe classrooms, and they're staffing those classrooms with the appropriate adult-to-student ratio to meet the unique needs of each. They also offer higher stipends and will take the accrued teaching years to place teachers on the pay scale, all accrued teaching years.
Why are we not doing the same or better? Currently, we have 4 out of our 11 moderate severe classrooms staffed with substitute teachers. Some of these classrooms have had no credentialed teacher in over a year or more. We need special education teachers. We need to do what needs to be done, such as setting appropriate caps, giving stipends, accepting all years of service to attract teachers to our schools. Because the truth is, the district is not incurring the current costs of understaffing our special ed classrooms. Our students and our families are the ones taking on those costs. For every day, week, month, and/or year that a student with special needs goes without a credentialed teacher is another year lost to improving their quality of life. You are taking away from them the right to an equal and appropriate education. You are taking away the joy and well-being of families who want to believe that their children are getting the help that they need and deserve. We understand the learning loss that came with COVID for general ed students, but a lack of special ed teachers to support students' education and relying on substitutes and agencies to provide specialized services is even worse. I ask you to do the right thing for these students. Make SBUSD a place that special education teachers want to come and they want to stay. I strongly urge you to look at what SWATA is asking you to do to help attract these teachers and decide if the financial cost is worth the human cost. And would it be the same if it were your child?
Thank you. I'd like to recognize our district superintendent. Welcome, Superintendent.
Thank you, President Quinones. Good evening, board members, staff, and community members, and welcome back from fall break. I want to take a minute just to point out the art and the letters that are displayed in the back of the room that were created by students during fall intercession. These are just a few examples of their advocacy around the pollution crisis impacting our community. As you can see, their work is solution-oriented, collaborative, and focused on the need for action. As a district that strongly values community, equity, leadership, providing safe and equitable learning environments that seeks to empower students to grow academically and understand and develop their own social responsibility, this work exemplifies these areas of focus. The development of this work also incorporates key components of Community Schools Model. We continue to engage and expand in community partnerships to uplift the voices of our students and our community members. In doing so, we learn more from our students about what their needs, hopes, and dreams are, so that together we can continue to work toward meeting their needs and strengthening our school community. Coordinator Maria Osborne and her San Diego State University intern, Samantha Sidline, have played an important role in collaborating with a coalition of community agencies, including Surfrider Foundation, Un Mar de Colores, the City of Imperial Beach, and Casa Familiar, among others. Through their efforts, our intercession included educational lessons, which resulted in the work you see tonight. Thank you to Director Chavez for supporting this effort and ensuring that student voice has an important place in the response to our environmental disaster. A big thank you to the intercession teachers and staff for encouraging such awesome work. Most importantly, thanks to all our students for their creative ideas and inspirational artwork. Some of these pieces will be displayed at the Unite to Heal Our Coast event on Sunday at the Imperial Beach Pier. In addition, the letters and artwork will be sent to President Biden to support our request for federal assistance. A big thank you to the South Bay team.
Thank you so much, Superintendent. And yes, thank you to the South Bay team. Organizing and having our students' voice heard is really important. So thank you. Thank you. Moving on. Item 8, public comments on non-agenda items. Public comments. The board will take no action or discussion on any item not appearing on the posted agenda except as authorized by law. Individual speakers are allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each non-agenda item. Speakers are not permitted to yield their time to another. The board limits the total time for public input to 20 minutes. So it's 3 minutes and there will be a green light and then it'll turn yellow, green. So if you see a red, if you see the red, if you could just wrap up your last statement, that would be great. The time is 7, so we'll go ahead and call on our first public comment.
We
Ms.
have no
Cooper?
public comments.
No? Oh, thank you. Moving on to 9, discussion and action items. General functions. At this time, I'd like to recognize our Superintendent Jose Espinoza, who will introduce the item of our 2024 annual organizational meeting. Superintendent?
Thank you, President Quinones. The California Education Code provides that the governing board of each school district shall hold an annual organizational meeting for the 24-25 school year between December 13th and December 28th. The Education Code also provides that the day and time of the annual organizational meeting shall be selected by the board at a regular meeting held prior to December 1st, 2024. We respectfully request that the board approve the date, time, and place of the South Bay Annual Organizational Meeting as December 19th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the Burris Auditorium. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. May I have a motion to approve the date, time, and place of the South Bay Union School District Annual Organizational Meeting as December 19, 2024 at 6 p.m. here in our auditorium? May I have a motion?
I motion to approve.
Thank you. A second.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. We'll be calling for the vote on electronic.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Right. Getting good at that, trustees. Moving on to educational leadership. Item B. At this time, I'd like to recognize Assistant Superintendent Pamela Riker Montia, who will give us an update on student progress monitoring. Welcome.
Good evening, President Quinones, Superintendent Espinosa, trustees, and members of our community. I come before you with the October SBUSD LCAP update. I know it's repetitive every time, but for those listeners or members of the community that are in the audience that perhaps have not heard an LCAP update, it's good to give a little bit of background. So again, our LCAP is a 3-year plan that describes the goals, actions, services, and expenditures to support positive student outcomes that address state and local priorities. The LCAP provides an opportunity for local educational agencies, LEAs, that's the district, and or our charter schools, Nestor and IBCS, to share their stories of how, what, and why programs and services are selected to meet their local needs. And as you've seen in our school reports, our school plan for student achievement, our SPSAs, are aligned to the LCAP. So you'll hear those goals repeated throughout their presentations. So again, all school districts are required to produce an LCAP. They must address the 8 state priorities and incorporate specific metrics the state has defined to monitor the priorities. And so we will continue to share those metrics as we present every month. We do work with our educational partners, and our educational partner review and input is an integral part of this process, which also includes these updates to the board. Our goal 1 is effective organizational systems. Our goal 2, district and school climate, culture, and connectedness. And our goal 3, academic excellence for all students. And our update tonight will be regarding action 3.3 of goal 3, which is student progress monitoring. Specifically, we'll talk about our iReady diagnostic assessments that have occurred. So just as a reminder, and again, the LCAP became so long this time, so wordy, but it's important to share with you where this appears in the LCAP in the different sections. So Action 3.3, Student Progress Monitoring, and where it specifically states that all schools will use progress monitoring and benchmark assessments to monitor student progress on master and grade level standards in ELA and math. Data will be used by staff to inform instruction, differentiate lessons, and provide intervention opportunities. And again, we hear that often in our school reports about the intervention that our learning acceleration tutors are providing. And this provides these diagnostic assessments, and iReady provide us additional data that we can use to do so. As shared when we adopted the LCAP, all student groups identified in red needed to be identified in the LCAP. In this case, you can see the long list of students that were identified in red on the dashboard in either ELA or math, which is what we are using our iReady for the platform to address ELA and math. On the right-hand side, it states that the district will be using a new progress monitoring tool, this iReady, during this school year to ensure that all students, but especially those in the red in ELA and math, are assessed regularly and monitored for progress made on grade level standards. At the very bottom, it does share that the effectiveness of this action will be measured by an increase in student achievement on the ELA and math sections of the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress, which is the CASP, as identified in metrics 3.1 and 3.2. The next slide is simply a snippet of those metrics. So we have our metrics for 3.1 and for 3.2, one being for our ELA and one being for math on the CASP, and how it breaks it down by each student group. Underneath our goal 3, which is the academic excellence for students, when we specifically look at metrics 3.1 and 3.2, these are the scores that we currently have. So you can see overall reading, the 45% meeting or exceeding standards, math 37%. And so then it breaks it down by group, 27% English learners, Hispanic 43%, and so forth. And so this again is just looking deeper, digging deeper into what the metric is. And this is how we want to exceed. So the goal is percentage of students meeting or exceeding standard will increase over the 3-year period from 22-23 to 25-26. And this is what we want to see in those areas. So not how we're performing right now, but what we hope to see. These are just the expectations for iReady. There's not a huge difference in the 2 slides, but this is for our SEIA classrooms, so our non-dual immersion classrooms. A couple of things that I did want to point out is when you look at the first trimester for kinder, we did extend this window. So what we discovered is that really our kinder students should not begin their assessment until at the 4th week of school, and we had started everyone at the same time. And so upon realizing that, we did extend the window, and we will make sure that that change is made for next year, that the window will not open until that 4th week of school. I also wanted to point out that our second trimester or testing window, assessment window, is in December. We made a decision during our consultation committee meetings that we were going to revisit these windows in January and talk specifically about the 3rd trimester window. We want to take a look at the results from both the 1st and 2nd trimester, and then talk about is that 3rd trimester the right time to be assessing? And the conversation is really about not wanting to create any kind of assessment fatigue, particularly in our upper graders who are taking the CASP assessment. So a lot of conversation about, that is our high stakes assessment. So what we don't want to do is give the iReady assessment right before the test, before the CASP, and that students are already fatigued. So then we have to talk about, well, if we give it after the CASP, what are the purposes of that? And we really want to make sure that we are assessing with intention and that it is guiding instruction. So that's just sort of a stay tuned that this might change a little bit after we take a look at how that second window of assessment goes. The next slide is our DLI classrooms. So again, all this does, it's basically the same information, but adding the language. So it lets us know how many minutes are required or how we're assessing or which language we are assessing in DLI. So you can see in math, it's English/Spanish, where in reading, it's just English. And these are really determined by the program models of our DLI schools. So now I'll go into the fall data. I do want to point out that tonight you heard preliminary data a couple of times when it comes to the CAS. It was publicly released today, but that would be too short for us to put the official data. It's going to be very similar when it comes to CAS. I'm going to be sharing with you the iReady data, but I did want to point that out. It was expected for public release on October 18th, and it did release early. All right, so the first thing that we want to do is make sure that we understand the iReady's criterion, and so reference to relative placement levels. So the other thing that can be a little bit confusing is as we're going through the data, it talks about benchmark in comparison to benchmark. And when they refer to benchmark, we're really talking about this. What's the benchmark for a student to reach mid or above grade level? So green is students at this level have met or surpassed the minimum requirements for the expectations of college and career ready standards in their grade level. And then early on grade level is students at this level have only partially met grade level expectations. So they're not far behind, but they're not at mid or above grade level. And then the yellow is going to be students placing one level below, and they're approaching their grade level expectations. That sort of salmon-y color up on the screen is, and it could change depending, right? Pink or is 2 grade levels below, and red is 3 or more grade levels below where they should be. We're looking at 4 data points. When we look at South Bay, we add South Bay. We're looking at the fall national norms for iReady. We're looking at the national year to date for this fall. And that's all students who completed the diagnostic between August 1st and September 26th. And then the California year to date. So all students in California who have taken that same diagnostic, and then we'll have South Bay's data there as well. So the first thing I need to point out is we're looking at math first. My brain functions on looking at ELA first. I don't know, I'm always thinking about reading first, but in these slides, math comes first. So here, how do the district's placements compare to the benchmarks? Again, the benchmarks being those national benchmarks or the green and the different colors that you see. So just reading along the bottom of the table, you can see the national norm from fall 22-23. You see the national year to date. So how students did on the first window diagnostic just recently across the nation, how California students did on that fall assessment, and then how the district did. And then you can see the different bands. So what we're looking at is how many students are falling at that 3 or more grade levels below versus the students at the very top and that green, and sometimes the percentage can't even fit in there. So it might be a 2%. And then where are our students on that early on grade level, because that's telling us that they're very close. Did it change? And then this is our reading. So again, going across the bottom the same way, and then taking a look at ultimately, where does the district compare to California and the nation? And again, this is our first implementation. So we also have to understand that with any implementation of curriculum, of digital platforms, of assessments, it may not be, the data may not be perfect. But it is our first implementation. One of the reasons why when we did talk about this in consultation committee, we talked about waiting until we could see that second window and see how students were moving through the assessment and how teachers were feeling in the implementation of the assessment. But you can see that we have a higher percentage of students below and fewer students at grade level overall in reading. Now it'll break it up by grade level. And at first glance, you think, oh, great, there's no red. Remembering in kindergarten and particularly in K and even in first, you're not going to see those 2 or particularly the 3+ grade levels below. So kindergarten, you see they're 1 grade level below or they're on grade level, mid or above grade level. And then you start to see that progress as we go through the grade levels. But you can see that small percentage of kinder, that's 6%, that's early on or mid or above grade level. And the majority are scoring at that 1 grade level below. And it's not far off. I mean, you can see the California year to date is 86%. Again, there is a difference, but we're not talking 20 percentage points. You'll start to see a little bit more of an increase as we move up the grade levels. So you can see first grade, again, we're looking at math. So we have 63% in that yellow band and 34 2 grade levels and below. We do not have a 3 grade levels below because they haven't been in school long enough, and the same with second grade. And you can see in second grade, it's a pretty big jump as far as the percent, but again, first implementation. Here are third, fourth, and fifth grades in that same comparison. And what we really want to see is that decrease, of course, in the bright red band and the lighter red or pink. The yellows indicating they're 1 grade level below, and anything in green is early on grade or that mid or grade level. And we also have our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade data. And this is where you do start to see, if you look at 7th grade, and we have smaller numbers in 7th grade because we have 2 middle schools, but this is often what we start to see in data is as students are getting into those latter years, you see less of a gap perhaps in comparison as things are starting to really solidify. But in this case, 7th grade, we have about 13% in those green bands and 38% in the bright red. You look right next door to the California year to date, and they're similar in the red. There's more in the green band, but again, a much larger comparison if you look at approximately 177,000 compared to our 227. The next slides are going to be the same format, but for reading. So looking at how our K students are doing in reading, first grade and second grade. Going on to third grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade. And lastly, the 6th, 7th, and 8th for reading. So what we're really looking forward to doing is seeing, okay, how does this change in that second? Again, this is our baseline. This is our baseline data. We have not given this assessment before. It's new to our students. It's new to our staff. So what does it look like when we give that second assessment, and what growth do we see? What changes in the data? But this is at that global perspective, the big level of not honing in on each student, not honing in on a classroom, which is what our staff have the ability to do to form those intervention groups and really drill down. So if a student is 3 grade levels below or 2 grade levels below, what is it specifically that they're missing or that they need in order to make that growth? So again, this is very high level data. It's not digging into the individual student. At this point, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. I had mentioned our next step is our second trimester assessment. That is December 2nd through the 20th. And then that determination if we need to move the third trimester window. This is the diagnostic assessment. This does assess students on their progress towards grade level standards. But it is the same for every student taking it. But it is adaptive in English and in math. It does adapt to the students, so it'll give them more difficult or easier in order to really determine where they are in their grade level. So it's not a standards assessment like I would teach main idea and give an assessment solely on main idea. This really is that diagnostic tool for progress monitoring. Amy, if you could go back to the regular PowerPoint. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to head and open it up to Vice President Medina.
On page, well, it's almost the last screen, the district-wide assessment and iReady expectations. So I see that it's assigned 15 to 20 minutes daily in math and reading. But is that assigned only in school sites, or is it homework, or is it both?
It can be homework. Yes, students do have access from home.
Okay, but so every school site is assigning it differently, so they could either be doing it at school or at home?
For the most part, we're seeing it done at school, for the most part.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yep. I think where we're having some questions is really about the time and the number of lessons, because most importantly is the lesson completion. So that's where it gets a little, where the monitoring of how they're doing. So why there may be a need for a student to work on it at home or of homework if they're having difficulty completing lessons, where other students may be flying through the lessons with no problem. But it's really about the lesson completion, and the recommendation from iReady is 2 to 3 lessons a week for K through second grade, and at least 2 lessons in the upper grade because they're longer. So even though the recommendation is that 15 to 20 minutes, what we also know is we do not want to see students sitting on their computers for long periods of time. So if a teacher is noticing that a student is not moving through their lessons, they can assign that for homework. Whereas other students might just, the 15 minutes is enough and they get through their lessons and they're progressing nicely. But there's a lot of reports in iReady and ways that the teacher can monitor that and see how is it working for each child each student in their classroom.
So I guess that if a teacher sees a student stuck in a certain level that it's not moving, it's just staying in the same but in a longer period of time, would that teacher be doing some intervention, like helping them out, or just the program will just push them down since they were stuck in that level for?
So that's part of why it's important to monitor that, is because they should be working at their instructional level and pushing them forward. And if it's not, then yes, it could be an assessment issue. It could be a variety of things but that's where the student data is going to be so important to really dig in and see what's happening. And we can bring student data forward in a future presentation, because it really does outline every area that the student was assessed on and where their challenges are. So if there are challenges in a particular strand, well, let's use phonics, for example, because you could be having difficulty in phonics, and then that could be affecting a lot of your other areas. And so hopefully that student's receiving the intervention and the lessons around phonics, but then in addition, some intervention could be happening with the LAT or in small group, in their guided reading group. So again, it should go hand in hand with the instruction, is what I'm getting at, which is one of the reasons that when we adopted this, we did eliminate the other platforms, was to ensure that we're using that one system, and it has a lot of wonderful tools and reports that can be used. So we want to sort of force ourselves to explore all of that and see what works and what we get, what's of greatest benefit to our students. And we're learning along the way. Yeah.
Thank you, Pamela, for your presentation. It's pretty good. So as I'm looking and I understand this is on early stages of iReady and teachers, students, do they have a way to put some sort of inputs into these programs? If it's working, it's not working, any comments?
Yeah, so what we are going to do is actually, it's hand in hand. So part of it is that we're also working on our scope and sequence related to our standards. And so we're going to get information from teachers, solicit that input after each of our scope and sequence. And it will also include feedback on how the iReady is working with that scope and sequence.
Yeah, because of course, they're taking the program home and, parents, of course, they're not going to know, but they always relied on the students. So I just want to make sure the students utilize the system, the program appropriately. And if there are any questions, they should be able to go back to their classrooms and be able to ask the teacher, hey, this is what's some of the issues that I have. And that's when, because like I said, this is a really fairly new program, and I just want to be able to understand how to work. It's just something that.
Right. So when we're speaking about parents, there are parent reports that can be emailed directly out to parents about the diagnostic assessment, and it gives all of the information about how their child did on the diagnostic and their areas of need. So they are very explicit. But also the question about like input from teachers, we're already hearing input from teachers about the implementation. And that's, again, a lot of this is discussed in our consultation committee, but taking that input about what worked in the professional development, what didn't work, areas that were inconsistent in the professional development, not enough time, again, just looking at everything and making sure that we're adjusting as we go along. So making more time for exploration in the program, or more more questions that can be answered by the presenters or the facilitators. So we are taking that into consideration as well. Because I think that's where we're getting a lot of input, is on the professional development side and what's still needed. And so some of that professional development is also taking place at the site level, being provided by the teachers on special assignment, could be the administrator, it could be a lead teacher, but really supporting that implementation.
Thank you so much for your report. I know so far my children are easily accessing the program. Like if other things are not working, such as Imagine Learning or things that have been assigned for homework, then both of them are eager to get onto iReady and use that homework time somewhere else. And it seems to be very consistent. So that's what's going on with my kiddos. Thank you.
What happens when like the kids aren't using iReady? Like, for example, just recently I had this conversation with my son and his teacher, and he wasn't doing like what he was expected to do at home. Do we know if does that affect these numbers?
So that would again be the teacher communicating most likely with the parent about keeping up on their lessons and doing the lessons in order to make the progress. I think iReady has a lot of solid data behind their program, but it's all about utilizing it, right? We're not going to see the growth if they're not working through the lessons. So I would say that's really a conversation with the teacher to see, okay, so what strategies can we use to ensure that all students are moving through the lessons that they need to? So yeah, I would think that that would be a very individualized conversation.
Cool, thank you.
Really excited about this program. It's really going to tell us a lot by the end of the year. And I'm really glad that the teachers are getting what they need for professional development, because it is a new program, but it's going to tell us a lot. And it's a very good tool. I too had a question like, Vice President Bendina about the, time allotments and the lessons. So the lessons are in the computer.
Yes.
Okay. And so, the support of whatever they're learning, what standard they're learning is supported by the teacher in the classroom. And then this is like a test, what they learned that day or that week.
No.
Okay.
This is really an individualized program based on their diagnostic assessment. So it's really moving them through the standards based on where they scored on the diagnostic assessment. So if it's saying in this particular, if it's phonics, let's say, and we've identified that the student is missing diphthongs or they're missing vowel digraphs, they're missing consonant blends, something like that, then it's going to emphasize that, where another student may not have that gap in their learning, so they're not going to get that. So it's very individualized in that respect. There is the ability to assign different assessments or standards, little quizzes, things like that, or specific lessons to all students. But the power is really in the reports that you receive as a teacher, where it's going to, group your students in each of those areas and let you know who is functioning at grade level and who is not. Therefore, what do I want to assign out?
Okay, I'm going to be really interested in our second round.
Yeah.
So that would come after December, like in January?
Well, as far as the assessment's going to be in December, in January, we plan to bring you the dashboard if it's released and it's already. Probably February, we can bring you the iReady data back. And then I'd like to add that we are working with iReady currently to see if we can do some sort of correlation-ish to see where our students are performing and how that matches up to our CAS data. Because again, we want to know is it predictive?
Right.
Is it on? And we did that with F&P and DRA in the past, where if a student was reading at grade level, sometimes we could sort of predict, okay, in the reading, they'll come out at grade level. So we want to do some of that work as well. And if we're successful in that area, then we'll bring that to you. as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you again for your work and your team.
Yep,
And that
and-
consultation committee, because that's
Yeah.
a lot of work. So do tell them that we appreciate them.
Absolutely. And then just for future updates in November, we will have a presentation on the Expanded Learning Opportunities Program. And that is Action 2.6. And we will also share a fall intercession highlight presentation. In January, again, if all goes well, we'll be back with the California School Dashboard presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Righty. Nice report. Thank you so much. Moving on to business services, item C, Bayshore Bikeway Resiliency Project. We're going to recognize Assistant Superintendent Rigo Lager, who will introduce the item, and and Megan Openshaw of the City of Imperial Beach Community Development Director. Welcome.
Good evening, President Quinones, trustees, Superintendent Espinosa, staff, and community. At this point, I would like to ask Megan Openshaw, City of IB Community Development Director, and her team to come up for a presentation on the Bayshore Bikeway Resiliency Project and potential partnership with the district. When the presentation concludes, I will be asking the board for direction, and that direction would be if you would like us to continue to explore that partnership.
All right. Well, good evening, trustees, Chairwoman, Superintendent Espinoza. Thank you so much for having us tonight. As he mentioned, my name is Megan Openshaw. I'm the Community Development Department Director for the City of Imperial Beach, and I'm joined by my wonderful colleagues. I have Chris Helmer, who's our Environmental and Natural Resources Director, Shannon Bullock, who is our Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Director. I also have Dennis Larson from Nexus Planning and Research, and then I have JT Barr from Schmidt Design. Now, I'm incredibly excited to share this opportunity and this project with you all. We were very fortunate to be working very hard to obtain some grant funding, and we're very excited to hear your very valuable feedback about this project after we're able to share some details about that. So to start off, The Bayshore Bikeway Resiliency Project, this is the creation of a coastal resilience corridor within Imperial Beach. And what this project will be doing is that we are providing an enhanced flood protection for our Bayshore Bikeway corridor, as well as our adjacent vulnerable community. We'll also be serving to improve coastal access, strengthen our ecosystem resilience by incorporating additional transitional habitat areas along our bayfront's edge. And then in addition to that, we'll be activating the Imperial Beach Bayfront, and that will lead to greater opportunities for sustainable economic development as well as recreation. So why are we doing this? What is the need for it? Well, today we have existing flooding in our community, unfortunately. It's really seasonal events when you have heavy rainfall. Then if you go to the coastal areas, you see wave overtopping, and that really just causes flooding within our community. And it backs up some of our infrastructure like our storm drain system. And unfortunately, it even impacts the Bayside Elementary School, and that area gets flooded. And of course, as we just heard, all of the compelling stories about the students here who are so invested in water quality, knowing that some of that flooded water is polluted, making sure that we're making all of that water not be in the elementary school or have it flow in a safer way is a critical, important piece to this project. Now, in addition to that, what we found when we did our sea level rise vulnerability assessment, in the future, with sea level rise impacts, that flooding inundation, if we don't do any action, it really just gets a lot of worse. And we're looking at our Bayside neighborhood up there, and you'll see that that area is completely in blue and it's really flooded. And also that neon green line, that's one of our storm drain systems. And what that's showing there is that it would be flooded most of the time. In addition to that, we've also acknowledged that there is very limited and unsafe access to and along that Bayshore Bikeway today. There's also limited recreational opportunities, not a lot of spaces where you can call and tell your friends where to meet you at the bayfront or at the bike path. And also Pond 10A, that's that area on the left-hand side in SR 75, that's currently a muted pond, and so it doesn't have full tidal flushing. What that means is it's not really a good place for that wetland area to grow and flourish. So what is our solution? What is this project really doing? Well, we're looking to incorporate living levee and ecotone slopes. That's really just a big berm or piling up some dirt area in a way that has a slope that lets that wetland area really grow up it. In addition to that, we'll be creating a multi-purpose detention basin and tidal gate, and that will be as a part of a joint use park for the Bayside Elementary School. In addition to that, there will be a pedestrian cycling and bridge, basically, where that little red line is over there. That will actually serve to open up an area to let that tidal flushing in while also still maintaining that existing access. And it looks really nice. But in addition to that, we are also incorporating more improvements. We want to ensure that these areas are safe. So we're creating separated pedestrian walkway pathways as well as cycling paths. So the big and exciting piece, this is the area that we are really looking for your valuable feedback on, and we're looking forward to future engagements related to that. What we're looking to do here is a detention basin. So this is an area where we can get that water to flow in a safer manner, and it will be combined with a neighborhood-wide storm drain system improvement, and that'll help reduce all of that coastal and precipitation event-driven flooding within our community. Additionally, I mentioned a tidal gate. That's what really controls the water from flowing back into the bay, and it really just maintains that better flow. And so we really want to also incorporate different design features to help transform this area into a joint use park, a space that really benefits our community. So if you're wondering what these types of channels look like, this is an example of a park called Savita Park. And this area that's a little bit sloped inwards and it has all of that landscape features, that's the potential of what that channel can look like. And as you can see, there are so many families that are currently recreating within this open space and enjoying it. And it also really looks nice. So with that, I will pass this off to JT.
Good evening, and thank you, Megan. Good evening, President, trustees. Building upon Megan's discussion, something that's really exciting about this project is the opportunity for us to start to address the facilities master plan for Bayside Academy. There are a number of amenities that are identified that need addressed as a part of that facilities master plan, including the field area and track, the playground, the blacktop. So these are all elements that can be captured in the project that we would love to pursue further. So to reorient you, this pivoted 90 degrees. So the school buildings are to page bottom and page right is the Bayshore Bikeway. And this is really just an analysis diagram. It explores how the function and operations of the school campus can weave together with the overall resiliency project. That dark blue line represents the channel, the picture that we previously saw. Those green areas represent landscaped amenity and play spaces. The salmon colored areas are active areas, our play fields, our blacktops, our children's playgrounds, and then just contemplating circulation with the red arrows, thinking about how we come in and move around the site. By no means is this a design, but it starts to show us that these projects can really work beautifully together. It's something that we're really excited about is knowing that Bayside is a STEAM academy. This can really be a place for outdoor discovery. The campus can become a part of the overall curriculum. It can be a place to teach, a place to learn, a place to discover and explore. It can be a continuation of the overall vision of the academy. Of course, we will have our active play opportunities. We will have elements like Foursquare, my son's favorite, tetherball, basketball, our turf fields with tracks, all of those components that really allow the school to thrive. And lastly, there will be opportunities for play. And these can be introduced in traditional ways with post and platform structures. It can also be explored in nature-based ways as well, introducing wood and timber and stone, natural materials that allow children to access and touch nature. So these are a number of ways in which this can create this really beautiful synergy and enhance the campus of Bayside. And with that, I'll turn it back to Megan. Thank you.
Okay, so just rounding this off with what are our next steps and what are we wanting to do in this partnership with you all? We're really looking to craft a community engagement plan that's in concert with the district. We also want to work with the district to help set our parameters for the elements that are really required for school operations. A big focus of this project is the engagement with the community. We genuinely want to discuss all of these components of the project with you all because all of this can inform all of the parameters that are listed above and identified there. And in addition to that, we would like to report back to the district on community feedback that we receive. And then we would like to review all of the plans and designs with the district prior to any form of implementation. We want to ensure that this is an ongoing conversation where we're genuinely having that dialogue to ensure that this design really comes out in a manner that reflects the needs of the children and the community. Thank you, and we're available for questions.
I just can't write fast enough. Yes. I think I've been waiting for you to come on my live. So thank you.
President Quinones, we do have a public comment whenever you're ready.
Okay, we'll take that public comment time. Public comment right now. Yeah,
Councilmember Fisher.
welcome, Councilmember Fisher.
Thanks for having me. This is really exciting to me, not only as an employee of the city, but also as a Bayside alumni. I grew up in that park, I guess the playground. Back in the day, if anybody who remembers, there used to be an old wooden fort that was probably, knowing Imperial Beach was made out of used telephone poles. So to see what it's transformed or could be transformed into many decades later is exciting to me. I hope that the board does approve this and move it forward and works with the city. The community partnership between the city and our school districts and other alliances like that really make it a community worth living in. And it improves it because not one of our agencies can do it on our own. We need these partnerships to move things forward. And we do it for the same purpose. We do it from different directions, but the same purpose, to enhance our community, to make the lives of those residents better, and to take really spaces that have been neglected for years, make them to really cool places. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here, and hope that the board will approve it, and look forward to working with the school district and moving this program. And we know that it takes a long time to get these things done. I think we're all cognizant of that, but it has to start somewhere, and I hope it starts here. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Fisher. And I'm not alone. Jack's been waiting his whole life too. He's probably one of the kids on the yard that kicked me in the head with his block. So that's another story. Go ahead and open it up to trustee Esparza.
All right, so thank you for the presentation. It's actually pretty, really nice. I wish I can have that in my backyard, but it's absolutely so. Quite a few questions. Funding, and I know this is just the early stages, and so I just need to know where's the money's coming from.
Certainly. So all of the funding is coming from state and federal grants. So far, we've been able to get grant funding from OPC, that's the Ocean Protection Council, the California Coastal Conservancy, so State Coastal Conservancy, as well as from FEMA. And so moving forward for any additional gap funds, the intention is for us to continue persisting on finding grant funding to support all of our efforts.
Okay, so even also in the early stages, like I said, so do we have, who is going to be responsible for the upkeep, landscape, in all the surroundings, let's say, around the school districts, like the Bayside School Academy? I mean, something that we really need to be concerned. And before even proceed, I think we need to know about those things before we start, to move forward to.
Yes, so that's actually something that we're actively working on now with our management team as well. And so we're in discussions related to those maintenance responsibilities. And we certainly would like to provide you with additional information as it becomes ready. But we certainly acknowledge that, especially with having a new park space connected with the elementary school, that there are some responsibilities that come with it. And that we're committed to being able to make sure that in those discussions, we determine what is the best outcome for everyone.
What is your time frame?
Sure. So we have a couple of years in the book still until we break ground, admittedly. So I would hope that probably in what we look at 3 years at or around, about 3 years before we break ground. So right now we have been working on the 60% design for the entirety of the project. And so we just are finishing up our project description for the environmental. So environmental and finishing up those plans typically takes some odd years.
I see. So as you all understand, we have a sewer problem here in Imperial Beach, and this to me is a priority, and of course, I also like to have this beautiful landscape, plans that you guys have. So this is where, where I'm at, not sure exactly because it's a lot of work. And of course, even though it's 3 years from now, I think it's something that we definitely have to reconsider this. Anybody else? I'm good.
Thank you so much. So this is in my backyard. And thank you, Councilman Fisher, for sharing your support, knowing that you remember when you could climb through the little chain part of the fence to get back there and play basketball and hang out during summers.
I'm sorry, Kelly. I was going to recognize you first because that is your area school.
It's okay.
I apologize.
It's
Go
all
ahead.
right. And so this is absolutely beautiful, and having a space in that community that families and can be proud of is really important, I think. And I also understand great questions, Trustee Esparza. Those are like thinking about who's going to be responsible for the upkeep and having partnerships with the city, very important. Knowing and understanding those tides in that backyard and the possible flooding. And I can see how, when we're concerned with the sewage, I hear people sometimes say like, well, why are we putting money towards this when we have this problem? But this money can't fix that giant problem that we have. However, I feel like it can provide a safer space for our families and children to play in, because right now, if there was to be a flood, I wouldn't let my kids in my backyard. I wouldn't even want my pets back there if that contaminated water was to reach our land. So I would love to see more and hear more about this. I think it, again, would be something that part of Imperial Beach could be very proud of. And I think I look forward to hearing more. Thank you.
I think we have consensus by one. Are you with us? You didn't say yay? Get them to go forward?
I think it's not the right time, but that's just me. I
Okay,
think we just, I need some more information. Uh, even though it's just a preliminary, but I think it's just that I need a little bit more information.
Okay. Thank you, Janet.
I was gonna ask you if superintendent could clarify that it's only something to look into. It's not something that it's gonna get done. Correct.
Yes, so what we're asking for is for the board to give us direction on continuing to work with the city on this project. So there's still a lot of, it's very early. There's still a lot of things that have to be looked at, but what we're asking for right now is just direction to continue to work with the city.
Thank you, Superintendent. Good question. Just to give trustees, well, Kelly knows, and Jack knows, where they're going to put that, wait, what'd you call it? Wastewater pipe underneath the grass, right?
Oh, it's just a stormwater channel.
Stormwater, yeah.
Yeah.
Right now it seeps and it's been seeping for 40 years. Okay. And so when it's high tide and the bay rises, the water comes to Bayside, and we've had some flooding there, and the playground becomes, unusable. So I'm really happy that the city is coming tonight to share your vision and our partnership, because that's the part of our mission statement, in partnership with our community, and you are our community. And I wouldn't say hold anything. I'd go full steam ahead, Superintendent. The possibilities of that, it's only a 1.2 acre lot playground.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's what I read.
The park, the area itself is closer to 5 acres, but the segment of the bike path is 1.2 miles.
Okay, so I know I read that somewhere.
You did.
Okay, so this is just a green light, trustees, that we want to have more conversation with our superintendent and team. So if I could get an agreement with that, go ahead.
Thank you. So just to clarify, it is not going to cost the district more money to learn more, or for you to come together with more plans or anything like that. That's not coming out of district funds, correct? Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
And then,
Oh yeah, go.
Can I
Sorry, go
add
ahead.
something to that question? In fact, they showed the our current facility master plan slide for Bayside. In fact, it would allow us potentially to use bond dollars in other areas that we may not have to use to upgrade the playground areas and turf for the Bayside playground area. So in fact, it's not only possibly not a cost to us, it's probably a cost, most likely a cost savings as well, potentially in the millions.
thank you. And I also really like that, along with our talks of consolidation and bringing robust programs to our schools, language, art, science, like I feel like this is right in line with that. And again, knowing how long things take, and that it's not costing us money to research it, but then again would release bond funds for other things. I think it all sounds amazing.
And you saw the potential of the learning opportunities for kids outside of being just in a classroom.
Absolutely. Again, I'm very familiar with the area, and it's exciting.
All this sounds great, looks beautiful, it's very exciting. I'm 100% in support. Let's move it forward.
Well, we've got 4, yes, okay, so we got 4 to go, Superintendent. I'm really excited about this. We've been waiting a long time, Superintendent. Right, Jack? So one more question, if I may, Megan. When you do the community engagement piece, I know the city's really good about community engagement with our 9th Street projects and all the projects we have going on. So you would do of course, you plan with our superintendent, in regards to our community that lives there around Bayside, all around like this. Right, Kelly? You'll be on the. And so, and then in addition, do you have plans to speak with, well, I should ask my superintendent, with the principal and staff there?
Yes, there will be definitely a lot of community engagement, including the community of the school community.
Thank you, Superintendent. Just one more question. What's the timeline on this? Because, and when, it have to be like only 6 weeks in the summer. I know you can't finish it by then, but that's our window.
So we're still working on some of the timelines, but I just want to reiterate, we are very committed to working with staff as well as the community. So there's a strong intention and we want to make sure we're planning everything right. So I want to ensure that we're communicating with staff to make sure that we're meeting all of the right timelines. So that way we're all working together in a way that really meets your needs.
Well, I think we have to go, Superintendent. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of our children and communities, thank you.
So we'll continue to explore, obviously, the
Please.
partnership, and thank you to the city of IB for bringing this forward to us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Assistant Superintendent Lara, and thank you, IB staff. And or just we are very clear, this is just the beginning stages. As more information becomes available, more information will be provided for the board.
Thank you, Superintendent. It's just really exciting. We just want the new playground now. So, thank you. Moving on to item D, Trustees Department Update, recognizing Director Anna DeCastro, who will give us a presentation on her Child Nutrition Department. Welcome. Thank you for staying so late. Well, it's 10 o'clock.
Good evening, President Quinones, board members, Superintendent Espinosa, colleagues, and South Bay community. My name is Ana de Castro. I'm the Child Nutrition Director, and along with Devil Walker, the Child Nutrition Supervisor, we're here today to give you some updates on the Child Nutrition Department. So just to start with a quick department overview, we have 57 amazing employees. We serve breakfast, lunch, supper, and Head Start snacks. So we serve breakfast, lunch, and supper at all our sites, and Head Start snacks at VIP and Nikolov. So we have 4, 5, or 6 employees, depending on how many students we serve and how many programs we have at each site. We also serve intercession, and we cater meals to students attending intercession fall and spring break. We provide breakfast, lunch, and snack for them. And also during the summer, we provide breakfast, lunch, and snack for students attending intercession. And any student in the community is welcome to come to the site. Any child under 18 years old is welcome to come to our sites to get a meal for free as well, breakfast and lunch. During the summer, we're operating summer for ELUP students. We also cater for special events. So the last one we did was the kickoff. We serve over around 500 meals that was a great event, super successful. We're also the head of the Student Wellness Committee, which Devin's going to talk about a little bit later. And it's important to mention that the cafeteria fund, or we call the Fund 13, is a self-sufficient fund. So we do not rely on the general fund for our regular operations. We basically get our reimbursement, our funding from the meals that we serve. So to each meal that we serve, breakfast, lunch, and supper, we get a reimbursement for it. That reimbursement doesn't cover only those meals. It's important to mention that it covers everything. So it covers the meals, the food and beverages. It also covers the salaries, the benefits for employees involved in serving, preparing those meals, paper goods, napkins, sporks, trays. It also includes a janitorial, kitchen supplies, so cleaning products, anything, trash cans, equipment, so all our ovens, our freezers, all of that, and operational costs. So gas, what else? Health inspections, repairs, all of that's covered by that funding. So the reimbursement that we get for the meals that we serve. But it's important to mention that all our students, regardless of that, eat for free, breakfast, lunch, and supper. And even we know that there's the universal feeding for California, so all our students eat for free regardless. But even if that were to go away, our students would still eat for free because we're what call a community eligibility provision, which is something we apply for, we're granted. So even if that universal feeding goes away, our students will still eat for free. So that's important to mention. Just to give a quick brief numbers for our daily operations, on average, we serve about 1,500 breakfasts, 4,500 lunches, and 800 supper meals. Our number for supper grew significantly because of the ELOP, the sports, the after school clubs that they have now. We're also offering a supper for those students attending those clubs as well. Participation, as you can see from August 2022, 23, and 24, we usually use the August because it's a full month to compare participation. It went from 68.6 to 75.2, and we're now at 76.8. So it keeps growing. Props to Devin for planning menus and making them appealing and interesting to the kiddos. And also it's important to mention that our participation for adult meals grew like almost tripled since last year. So that means it's amazing to see that our staff is supporting our department, coming to eat with us. Teachers are eating with kids during mealtime. So that's amazing to see that number grow as well. Something I'm going to give you guys an update is something that we're finally done with the administrative review. That's a big audit that happens every 5 years for child nutrition by the CDE. It's a year-long audit, and then they look at our breakfast and summer programs throughout the school year, and also look at our summer program. This last audit, they audited Sunny Slope, Oneonta, and Central. No particular reason. They look at those schools. They just make sure that they don't audit the same schools that were audited last time. They look at everything. When you see that table on the right, it's available. It's a public information. It's available at the CDE's website. It just basically, you can look up any district and look up and find if there's any findings on their program. As you can see, all columns no. So we had a very successful audit. I'm happy to report. They look at anything from, you see program reimbursement. So they look at, even though our students eat for free, we still have students that qualify for free or paid meals. So we do our claims, we count, we tell them how many meals we serve based on that percentage. So they look at that. Are we reporting accurately? They look at meal counting. Are we, letting them know, hey, this is a complete meal. They look at when the kids come to the line, are only marking complete meals. That's why we make sure they have half a cup of fruit or vegetable on their tray, because that's a complete meal. They look at meal patterns and nutrition quality. So they look at everything from our menus, if we're meeting the guidelines, if we're meeting the specific standards for nutrition guidelines. So that's something that Devin does to make sure the menus are compliant. They look at nutrition environment, school environment. They look at food safety, local wellness, professional standards. Are employees receiving the training, the proper training to do what they need to perform, to complete all their tasks? They look at record keeping. Are we keeping the right paperwork? Are we reporting them accordingly, like exactly the numbers that we're serving on a daily basis? Civil rights, they'll look for something into, are we, translating our menus and our important information? Are we communicating to families if we are, the programs that we have, the summer meals, what's available to them? They look at reserving proper special diets, student with disabilities, are we accommodating those special needs? And then others, there's a bunch of stuff that fall into others, like, are we using your budget properly? Are procedures in place are accurate? Are we charging the correct amount for adult meals? So they look at all of that. They really dissect all our program from, A to Z, and make sure that we're, meeting all the requirements. And I'm happy to inform, no findings, not even technical assistance. We had a perfect audit. So I'm very, very happy to report that. It's my first audit, so I'm happy. But I couldn't have done any of that without our amazing team. I mean, our ladies in the kitchens every day serving breakfast and lunch to our students. They know them by name. They remember them from the first grade to the day that they graduate. They know exactly what they like, what they don't like. So whenever makes the menus, that she makes sure to get reports, not just from students, but also from staff. So they're there serving kiddos with their smile on their face, make sure that the meal is perfectly cooked, that the salad bar is looking beautiful and colorful. So I couldn't have done it without them. They're an amazing team. I'm so proud of the team that we have in the kitchens working every day. Also, our drivers, storekeepers, they are the ones receiving all the food, making sure it's perfectly taken care of, stored, delivered to the sites on time, make sure they keep our inventory on point. So they're a great group. They work great together. They're like Three Stooges, like they're an amazing team to work with. And last but not least, our office staff, myself, the director, Olivia Fay on the left, she's the application technician, make sure all our paperwork is in order, everything is done correctly. She pays our bills, make sure everything is she knows where everything is, the most organized person I know. And also Devin Walker, which is also dietitian supervisor for the district. She's responsible for every single one of our menus. She places all our food orders, and she's always daily at the sites, making sure our staff has what they need, that the sites are operating properly. So she's the person they see on a daily basis there at the sites. So I would like to call her to talk a little bit more about the guidelines, the meal patterns we follow for the menus, and our wellness and nutrition education.
Thank you. Welcome, or not welcome, welcome to me. Thank you, everyone. My name is Devin Walker. I'm the Child Nutrition Supervisor and Registered Dietitian along with Anna. Tonight, I'm going to go over what it goes into to make a menu and what we do in the Child Nutrition Department. Oh, thank you. Sorry, thank you. So when making a menu, it's quite a tricky thing. There's a lot to consider, not only making the food age appropriate, considering the students' taste profiles, what's tasty to them, healthy and nutritious foods, fitting, as you could see, it's a tight budget. So fitting all of those nutrients into a tight budget, as well as meeting the strict guidelines that are set by the USDA. The USDA is the United States Department of Agriculture, and they set guidelines that we have to follow for each menu for each age group. So here we have breakfast, lunch, supper, and Head Start snack, as Anna said, ranging from preschool to middle school. So for the sake of time, this slide covers what the requirements are for lunch K through 6. And we focused on this one because this is the highest participation group that we receive the most students eating. Within a menu, we have to look at the entrees. So they have to meet the 2 meat component, 2 grain component, which is the protein and the carbohydrate. We have to make sure that each meal meets the minimum or maximum falling in the calorie range for that specific age group. There also has to fall under the saturated fat and sodium limits. And then all of our food items need to have 0 trans fat, which means nothing is fried. Everything we serve is oven baked. There is a perception that cafeteria food is not good, not healthy. However, because of these strict guidelines, everything we serve is not like you would see at a restaurant or a fair or in the store. For example, our pizza, it's whole grain dough, low fat cheese, low sodium pepperoni. It's a different pizza than you're going to get other places. It's fit for here, so it is a healthy pizza. As well, our grains, everything we serve, all of our grains contain 50% or more are whole grains. So the rice, the pasta, the bread, the tortillas, the chips, the breakfast items, the muffins, the conchas, everything is a whole grain that we serve. So we're proud of that. Each day we serve 2 milk options. They're both fat-free. It's white and chocolate milk. And then as far as vegetables and fruit, as Anna mentioned earlier, we do have a minimum of a ½ cup fruit or vegetable on the tray when the student passes to count as a complete meal with their entree. There are subgroups, as you can see. I'm not going to go into detail about each one of them, but this ensures that we have a variety of fruits and vegetables on the salad bar every day. And this expands our students' palettes of what they're seeing as far as fruits and vegetables. So rather than just talking about it, we wanted to show you some of the items that we serve. Up here is some of our newer items, like the chicken and veggie dumplings with sweet and sour sauce, the brunch for lunch in the middle with whole grain French toast and sausage patties. Then this is a new item. The one that's blown up is our carne asada with whole grain tortilla chips. I like to mention that we make sure that we tailor our salad bar to meet the entree. So for the carne asada, we have shredded lettuce, diced tomatoes, cilantro, limes, jalapenos, and salsa all on the salad bar so they can make it extra loaded and pretty. And then down here is the boneless chicken wings. As you would see in a restaurant, they can grab celery and carrots with it. And we have buffalo sauce for the kids that want it a little spicier. And then the famous orange chicken with our whole grain brown rice. So these are just a few of our items that we serve. As you can see also on there's fruits and vegetables. These students are allowed to have unlimited fruits and vegetables, which will take me to the next slide, but they're allowed one entree when they go through the line, but as much fruit or vegetable as they want. They can load up their tray as full. They can come back and get more. It's unlimited. So this is examples of what our salad bar looks like on a daily basis. We don't make this up. This is literally, we tell our students, eat the rainbow. We encourage them when we say, the more colors you eat throughout the day, the more nutrients you're getting, which kind of goes into the education piece. We want not to just serve our students healthy meals, but educate them on the benefits of why it's important to eat these healthy meals. Some areas that we've done our nutrition education is this district kickoff, the health and safety fair, fall festivals, and healthy fundraisers. The two pictures up top were from the latest district kickoff. This is where we met with families. We did activities with the families and students. You can even see that parents were involved, and it was a really great turnout, really, really fun working with the kids. As well, we do a harvest of the month. So every week on a Wednesday, we offer a local or seasonal fruit or vegetable so that the students have more exposure to new fruits and vegetables that they might not see at home, might not try before. So this picture in the bottom right is me asking students what they'd like to try next and educating them on what makes a pear good, what makes a grape good, what makes persimmons good. So, and then another one we do is celebrations. So with principals, we worked on providing special meals for increased attendance. We've also done special seasonal meals, which the students really enjoy. And finally, as Anna talked about earlier, we're the head of the Student Wellness Committee. We meet 4 times a year to discuss different ways that we can improve the well-being of the students in their community. Anyone is welcome, teachers, staff, community members. We want to hear it all, parents, anyone. So it's actually posted, the meetings are posted on our website. And so if anyone out there would like to come, they are welcome, and we'd love to hear your feedback. And final thing. So this is our Instagram on the bottom. As you can see, some of these pictures are posted on Instagram. It's where we share with our families, like what we're serving, the meals, the menus, events. And it's also how we communicate with the families and parents. They give us feedback. They tell us what their students are liking. So please follow us, and we'll look forward to communicating. That is all I have. Thank you, everyone. I'll invite Anna back up here.
We're open for questions, comments, concerns.
Thank you so much. We'll start on this end over here. Jose, when's the last time you had lunch at school?
A very long time. Thank you for the presentation. Everything looks great. It's really cool to see all the healthy food and all the options, the unlimited salad bar. I'm getting hungry.
Yes, thank you so much. My children both eat lunch at Nestor every day. And when I pick them up from school and I ask them, how was your day? How was your lunch? How did everything go? What did you have? And it's neat that they both have tried different things. And the only time I ever get a complaint is if something that was their favorite has now rotated out and now there's something else replacing it. But other than that, they enjoy the meals, and I really appreciate knowing that I'm sending them to school and they're getting something healthy and not coming home hungry. Thank you.
I do want to emphasize that all the new meals that you showed us, every time I pick up my kids, I hear kids, oh, I like the carne asada chips. And I think that's the best that they've tried and they love it. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for your presentation. It's actually pretty informative. So I got 2 questions. So are you required to have a meal application regardless of the people's income?
No, that's a great question. No, we don't. Because of our community eligibility provision, we actually do not request, we are not allowed to collect applications. All our numbers or percentages are based on direct certification. So if a student is Medi-Cal, Medicaid, if they receive food stamps, or if they're homeless, foster, so there's certain criteria that we actually communicate with a technology. They give us that number because they get it out of CalPads, and we do our percentages based on that. What we collect from families now is the income survey, which is not related to child nutrition, but is basically for LCFF funding. So parents do not need to complete anything. Automatically, their kids are going to eat for free no matter what. So there's no need for meal applications.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And my second question is, how's pepperoni pizza taste?
Well, we have 2 pepperoni pizzas. Do you mind? Okay.
I love it. I go to the site often to have the meals for lunch. The pepperoni pizza, it's an item we switch out every 4 times a year. We switch out the menu. The pizza never leaves because the kids are obsessed with it.
And I just also like, we do pizza days where we bring Papa John's to bring their pizza, but also want to make sure it's school pizza. They have to bake a special dough, like it's whole grain dough. They have to make a special cheese. So it's school approved. They have to send us all the specs, all the paperwork when we have pizza day. So if you see a box from Papa John's, it's Papa John's, but it's a school pizza approved Papa John's. So just want to clarify that.
Thank you so much for coming this evening and staying so late. I know you guys wake up real early. So again, thank you. One thing I wanted to ask you, are you still providing that extra food to what was the Veteran City or San Diego?
The Veterans Village of San Diego. Yes.
So I think we read something like, I forget how many pounds, but it was a lot.
Yes, we actually just for fall break, because a lot of food won't, when we, shut down for fall break, a lot of the food won't last for those 2 weeks. And food that is going to expire, or food that maybe we serve the students, we have a few leftover cases that are not going to go on the next menu, we donate to them. We just did a fall break donation, which is 2,500 pounds of food to the Veterans Village of San Diego. Yeah, food that otherwise will probably go to waste. So we have a partnership with them. Amazing Chef Ralph and their team. They create recipes with items that we donate. They even like the yogurt or whatever it is, they create amazing recipes and serve their veterans. So we're very proud to have that partnership with them.
Super. Thank you again for coming. And when I go visit my next school, is this on a menu for a particular date, the nachos?
Yes. So this week they will be tomorrow.
Okay.
And then on the new menu, it'll be starting next Monday. They'll be on Wednesdays.
Okay. So it'll change monthly or something?
From now until December, it's the new menu. So every Wednesday you can go get some.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. All righty. Moving on to, let's clap. Moving on to the number 10 consent calendar. All matters listed in the consent calendar are enacted in one motion in the form listed below. Prior to the approval of the meeting agenda, there was an opportunity to request a placing consent calendar item in the discussion action section of the board meeting. There will be no discussion on these items prior to the board vote. The superintendent and staff recommended approval, adoption, ratification, acceptance, and of all consent calendar items unless otherwise noted. May we have a motion to accept all the consent calendar? It's not even on here. May I have a motion?
I move to approve all the items on the consent calendar as listed, including the superintendent's recommendations for denial or approval of leaves of absences.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'm going to go ahead and do our long line voting here. Oh, hope that didn't mess it up.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Moving right along. I think we're at number 11, item 11. Future agenda items. At this time, each trustee may suggest one topic for a future board meeting. Trustees, at this time, I will entertain a suggestion for a topic for a future board meeting. Anyone have a topic? Yes, Kelly.
I would like a presentation on how our different staff members receive their raises. So I know that there's different things, like we have our step and column, we have like years, we have negotiated raises, we have Me Too's, we have caps on our, like, so depending on if it's, you know, the cabinet or classified versus certificated, like I would like a little rundown so that our community, our staff and ourselves have a better understanding of when and how raises occur.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that perhaps maybe a presentation from Human Resources with that data on the what?
Yes, please.
Okay.
For everyone who's on our, like everybody who's on our payroll, on the payroll.
Yeah. And so, okay, so we'll note that and you have to come bring it back next month. Great. Is there another? Nope, hearing none. Thank you, Superintendent. Moving on to future agenda items for the follow-up, I'm going to recognize our Superintendent Espinoza, who will provide the next direction on the next steps for the next item.
Thank you, President Quinones. We do have one item. Trustee Lopez Aguino requested that the district collaborate with other South County districts to send a letter to Governor Newsom requesting assistance with the pollution crisis. And I have a special request with that. I'll give a quick update. Last week, superintendents and our SWATA leadership met with the governor's office. The governor was not there. And we talked about the pollution that's happening in our area. We have another meeting scheduled to debrief that meeting. So after we meet and we're, I think they're looking at scheduling that, or that may already be scheduled. But after we meet, then that's something that I could bring back to the board. I definitely see that if, we're going to debrief the meeting and we're going to talk about next steps. So I definitely see writing a letter to the governor's office and making very specific requests. I think that that's something that may come out of that meeting. So if we can, if we could please just bring this back, because there's already some meetings in place and some action that's happening.
We good?
Yeah, that's good with me. Thanks.
Okay. Have a question?
So you were going so quick. I do have a future agenda, but it just moved on really fast. I don't know if I'm able to jump back. Okay. Okay, great. So over the fall break, Superintendent Jose and I, we visited most of the schools in our district. We wanted to see the conditions of the buildings, landscape, soccer fields, playgrounds, parking lot, and of course, there was some garden that was really got my attention. So knowing this, I wanted to ask the board if there's any way we can implement or set up some sort of program to get a garden for the schools, just to have a set of guidelines how to have a garden in every school. It's after seeing every school, it's gardens everywhere, and I just wanted to be able to see, okay, if we can create some sort of guidelines or someone, just a program that somebody just take care of those garden will be nice. So that's what I'm asking the board.
Okay,
if we can do
so
that.
we'll note that, Superintendent, and we'll come back next month and then you can try to convince us. How about that? Okay. All righty. Okay, we're moving on to item 12. Without further ado, item 12, Jose, communication from the Board of Trustees. You've got 3 minutes.
Thank you, everybody. See you next meeting. Have a great night.
Thank you everyone who has stayed this long. Just real fast, my children went to the fall intercession for the first time, and it was the easiest time for me to wake them up so early without a fuss. They were super excited to go. And they'd never been before, so they were a little nervous. And again, the whole waking up to be somewhere at 8 o'clock during a break was I didn't know if it would work out well, but they were super excited to go every day, and I appreciated the time to be able to clean and fix things and organize my own home and life without them making new messes. And they were fed great food at the same time, so I appreciate the support.
I just want to communicate that after our last board meeting, I attended, I have my list right here, sorry. I attended Bayside. It was a great time being there. We've seen what we were presented, the floating side and everything, and it was amazing seeing that. And I'm looking forward for the new things. I also attended the Latino Heritage Night at Nicolov. It was amazing. Kids were presenting. It was just great. Thank you for having me at Bayside and Nicolov. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for being here today, and for those who presented, excellent. I mean, I wish there would be more audience here present so you can see what we do. It is important for me, for the board, the superintendent, and everybody present here. I did have a chance to look at the school site and VIP. Very impressed. The school has just about everything. So I'm looking forward to see more school sites. I have one coming up in Central, so looking forward for that. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Just a quick report from me. I appreciate all the advocacy that's going on in our city and our communities, and the district partnering with these entities like Surfrider and such, that Mendoza is always open to our community, and it looks beautiful. Thank you to Mendoza for hosting that. It was very enlightening. In addition, again, a reminder about Saturday at noon at the pier. If you're available, come on down. Thank you for the intercession program, the teachers, the certificate, as well as classified, all those food service, landscape maintenance. All of you take care of children every day. And when we have these intercession, you're still there. So I'm very proud of you. Thank you. I'm very proud of our students and their writing and their art. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So I can't wait for the mail dump. As I shared with the superintendent, I'd be glad to take the mail bag up to Congressman Vargas's office, but he said no. So anyways, I look forward to the rest of the month, and going down to reach out to Family Center on the 30th of October. Thank you so much. And on that note, is there any other? Nope, seeing none. Well,
President Quinones, I just wanted to report that I am super, super excited. South Bay Athletics has kicked off. We've had our soccer teams. Each school has a team. They have, uniforms. And I hope that you've seen some of the pictures on Facebook and on, X, and I'm sure Instagram as well. So super excited about that. We look forward to the next steps with South Bay Athletics. So parents, if you're out there, please come watch, bring a lawn chair, Our students are awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. And yes, it is fun, and bring a lawn chair. So on that note, we'll adjourn.